Don't actually have many announcements today. I apologize, I was in Costa Rica last week, and I'm just lucky to be back because I didn't want to come. But anyhow, I mean, I love seeing you guys, but Costa Rica is amazing. So, and we don't have it'll be sometime in March, our annual meeting. We don't have a date set up. We'll be doing a meeting probably tomorrow night and discuss that and find a meeting time. We'll let you know on that. And Karima is going to come up and talk a little bit about a program that she's been doing with the Clinton Foundation, and just give her a couple minutes and then we'll get started.
And Rachel as well.
And Rachel, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Rachel and I have been participating in some training workshops with the Clinton Foundation to help us as faith-based leaders to help people who may be dealing with addictions. It is more common than what we know. The church itself has often had there's a stigma around it, gluttony, you're drinking too much, you're doing this too much. But oftentimes, which we don't know, many people who have addictions were prescribed medications for pain more often, and they became addicted to it. And they cannot live without it. And oftentimes, they may take too much. So they've come up with a medication called Narcan. And Narcan is just a mist If you happen to have, someone happen to be in your presence and you happen to have this with you, you can just squirt it inside their nose and it can reverse an overdose. So we have some of these, and we would like for everyone to take one home, keep it in your purse, keep it nearby, because you never know when this little squirt may save a life. So Rachel and I are also going to be doing 2 community involvement events.
Projects.
Yeah, 2. Oh, so you're talking about.
Yeah, so we're both doing community engagement projects through the Clinton Foundation. And we're gonna kind of team up and work together and help each other. Mine is May 30th at the Keystone Club in Pelham. Pretty sure it's gonna start around 12. We're gonna have a catered lunch, and we're gonna have a Narcan presentation and training to learn how to properly use Narcan. One of my good friends, Tom B., he'll be sharing his story through addiction and recovery. He's a pastor. He's been a pastor for a long time, and he's got a really powerful story. And people on the board of the Keystone Club will be there to talk about the Keystone Club and its outreach in the community and resources and just all the good things it does. I'm in recovery from addiction, so this is very personal to me, and I hope you all can come. I'll have a flyer and remind y'all. And then you want to tell about yours?
Yes, and I'm going to be doing a community engagement project with the Sweat Lodge, which is a traditional Native American healing practice. It's going to take place here in Birmingham over in the Crestline Park community. The tentative date is April 11th, but I'll get back with you when I solidify that date. And it is open to really anybody, those who are in recovery, those who are in active addiction will need a support person. As the ceremony conductor told me, this is very strong medicine, and when you come in, you've got to be clean, drug-free, nothing in your system at that time to go through the process. And it'll be at 3 o'clock, probably on a Saturday. The 11th is a Saturday. So he's doing one on the 14th of March that I'm going to participate in myself to experience it. So if anyone's interested, just let me know, and we'll do that. So thank you all. We'll have the Narcan on the tables outside. It's very simple to use, and if ever you need to save someone's life, that's what we're here to help with.
And the Narcan, it's just 1 dose and 1 squirt. So you just give it all you got. If someone was overdosed, and it's important to keep it on you, like she said, in your purse or close by.
Okay, and that's all we have now. Thank you.
Yes, that is honestly a part of the work. The role of faith communities is to support not just each other, but to empower us so that we can go out in the community and be change makers and difference makers, to identify gaps in society and in our community and support those that are marginalized, not just providing information, but providing actual acts of service. To quote the words of Jesus, when you do this to these, whoever these may be, you do so unto me. So that sacred service is really what it's about, and that's why we are empowering ourselves. I too completed the Clinton Foundation training, and it really empowered me and opened my eyes, even concerning how we teach, because as Karima and Rachel said, the stigma does exist, even within faith communities and the language that we utilize. But when we take a look at all of us, because we know that there's only one of us here, everyone has a story, and you'd be surprised how each of us ended up where we are on that journey. So I'm grateful for Karima and for Rachel. Let's give them one more hand. I'm grateful to the Clinton Foundation for their support of our ministry and for empowering us so that we can be better humans on the planet. Amen. And with that, I'm going to invite you to find your place of power as we turn within for affirmative prayer. In this sacred space, we give thanks for the spirit of community that is already alive and thriving in this place. We allow ourselves to sink into this spirit of love, the presence of God, and the presence of good that is already here. We circulate this energy and we invoke this spirit of divine order, and we allow it to go forth, not just in this building, but to permeate the airwaves, to empower us all that are tuning in to watch this program even, so that we can be forces for good out in our communities and in our homes, making the world a better and a safer place for all of us. We allow the presence of God to go forth, to speak to us in its own unique way. We speak blessings on who we have to be Monday through Friday, and we know all things work together for our good. We allow it to be, we allow it to rest, and so it is. Amen.
So many things we can't control, so many hurts that happen every day, so many heartache that pierce the soul, so much pain that will never go away. How do we make it better? How do we make it through? What can we do when there's nothing we can do? We can be kind, we can take care of each other, we can remember that deep down inside we all need the same thing. And maybe we'll find, if we are there for each other, that together we'll weather whatever our tomorrow may bring. Nobody really wants to fight. Nobody really wants to go to war. No, everyone to make things right. So what are we always fighting for? Does nobody really see it? Does nobody understand? Power to heal is right here in our hand. We can be kind, we can take care of each other, we can remember that deep down inside we all need the same thing. And maybe we'll find, if we are there for each other, that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. And it's not enough to talk about it, not enough to sing a song. We must walk the walk about it. You and I, do or die, we've got to try to get along. We can be kind, we can take care of each other, we can remember that deep down inside we all need the same thing. will find if we are there for each other, that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. And maybe we'll find true peace of mind if we always remember we can be
Good morning. Yeah, so I wanted to read some Rumi this morning and practice known as Lectio Divina. And I've been having some bad luck recently, like having a car crash and my dad's in the hospital and everything. And then when I looked for a Rumi poem, this poem stood out to me, and it was one that my friend had already read to me in the past. And so I invite you to close your eyes, straighten out your back, but don't make it rigid. Let your hands flop to your lap or to your side. Take a deep inhale in through your nose, and then release slightly longer than you inhaled. Again, take a deep inhale in through your nose, and then release through your mouth or your nose. One more deep inhale, and exhale. The guest house. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. Joy, depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat every guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them in the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from the beyond. Take a couple minutes to let that wash over you. You might consider what in your life is trying to teach you something, help you grow, help you awaken. Just take a couple minutes. slowly become aware of your body. You might wiggle your fingertips on your legs, or straighten up your back and pop your back. And whenever you're ready, come back to the space around you.
In that same spirit, allow yourself to rest and relax. The capacity to feel is a beautiful, beautiful feeling. The highs of the music, the lows of the meditation allows your body and your brain to go through this process where you get things moving around, stirring up. And to reiterate the meditator, everything that shows up is a guest. Some of the guests linger a bit longer than we would, like. But it's important to be a good host. In the Old Testament, for example, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, there's lots of horrible things that were said from pulpits around the world for centuries. Many people don't realize the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah was hospitality. It was the inability to treat guests, which is why sacred texts later on was spoken through the mouth of prophets and prophetess and teachers and preachers to be careful how you entertain strangers, lest you entertain angels unaware. And it's not just people that could be that next level, that next breakthrough for you because of the resources and capacities that we have. Say this mantra with me: I am the window of heaven. Reiterated by the prophet Malachi, for I will open unto you the windows of heaven, or I will open you the windows of heaven, King James Version, because you are the windows of heaven. But the guests that show up in our house, this building not made with human hands, they all come to teach us something. All of the vicissitudes of life, even the stuff that we run away from, the good, the bad, the up and the down, all of the caricatures that they showed you in elementary school. This is sad, everybody. This is happy, everybody. See the smiley face? Now this is angry. And then you grow older and you develop these emotions that we call disassociation and despondency and lack of apathy and listlessness and all these big words that basically mean blah. That mimic the weather when you wake up. How do you feel? I feel purple. What? I feel great. What is that? I don't know. Where you start seeing color and you start hearing visual things and your senses get all messed up and mixed up. That's why prayer and meditation are important practices, because they show you that where you are, God is, and all is well. And it's not about pushing things down. Sometimes you have to do what one of my teachers, Michael Egan, calls embracing the full catastrophe of the self, meaning all of the human experiences. So you can look back in your later days and say, in spite of the good or the bad, the ups and the downs, the ins and the outs, all things have worked together for my good. If you will just rest in that energy, knowing that all things have and are working together for your good. That everything that has shown up in your path thus far has been a teacher. You may not have agreed with their lesson plan. You may not have liked the tests. You might have skipped out on the homework. But they are all your teachers. Now don't tell them that. That's between you and God. Because then they'll come down harsher. But you allow everything to teach you about yourself. Because your experience with them as the psychopop, as the catalyst that draws up all of the emotions, right? You get a chance to see what you're made of. And then you can take that energy and take it towards something good. Because passion and anger compacted together become compassion. So for everyone that has made you angry, drive more fierceness into your love. For everyone that has disappointed you, Go and show up as your best self for those who need you in a way that they would not have expected. That's how you turn those coals into diamonds. That's the alchemy that we talk about in deep, deep spiritual practice, where you visit the interior of the sun and there you find the hidden stone. The hidden stone is sulfur. It's the thing that degrades and burns through everything. It consumes it all. What are you talking about? Sacred text says that our God is a consuming fire. The nature of your divinity is vast. There is nothing that can break you. You are eternal. Or to quote my favorite R&B group, PM Dawn, you get a chance to experience this chapter of forever. Baby, you send me down. Set adrift on endless bliss with you. So take a moment to relax. Let this moment sit with you. Knowing that when you leave this place and this space, all things work together for your good. All music works together for your good. All emotions, all conversations, everything is a learning experience. And through it all, you and God are going to make a difference in you, in your life, in your family, and in the world. Take a deep breath with me in through the nose. Release the divine sound of ah. Letting go of the weight of the world. And so it is. Rub your hands together. Let's send this healing energy to those that are watching online. Say this with me. Divine love in us. Bless us and multiply all that you have and all that you receive. Know in this moment you are safe and loved. And so it is. Our ministry and this broadcast is supported by partners like you. Remember to log on to unitybham.org. Oh, come on down to 2803 Highland. We'd love to see you in person. But click on giving when you log into our website at the conclusion of this message, or text your best gift to the number that appears on your screen at the conclusion of this message. Moderators are also always on standby. Whether you see this message on Facebook, YouTube, or our website, make sure you dialogue with us. We would love to pray for you and for those that are in this house and are in need of prayer support. We do have our prayer chaplains, Mother Karima, Mother Naja, in the building. Put your hands together for our prayer chaplains. Mama Auntie Janie. And so it is, and we do have Miss Sharon and Miss Evan that are probably watching online as well. And we send them special healing energy, and they are there to pray for you as well. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is good to be here with spiritual family. Say this with me. I was glad. When he said unto me, let's go into the house of the Lord. You know, we retreat inside of our physical houses all the time, and your body, your mind is the temple of spirit, it's the temple of God. Charles Fillmore used to say, your head is headquarters. It's also the place where the presence of God lives and dwells. So we retreat into this temple for a variety of reasons. You know, sometimes we get thrusted into it. You know, something happens and boom, you're in yourself. What happened? I don't know. How do you know you're inside of your own head? Because you're talking to yourself and nobody else is listening, or nobody understands what you're saying. Have you ever been there? It's like, am I speaking a different language? Like maybe I've been in my head too long because I've forgotten how to people. Or someone asks you a very pointed question and you shut down. You know, what do you think? Right? But when we do come out of ourselves, we have a chance to live and experience life. And also when we come out of ourselves and then come into dedicated spaces, like at 2803 Highland, we come into these vortexes where faith and spirituality and love and inclusivity and altruism and all of these wonderful things that make us a faith community have been talked about, are talked about, will be talked about for generations. I'm reminded of Ms. Carr and the 12 women that sat around the table at the foundation of this ministry in the early 1900s. Ms. Carr and her 12 apostles. And they created an idea called Unity of Birmingham and brought that teaching and this energy to this city and invited down Charles Fillmore not too long afterwards and had him come and bless this experience. And then many years later, when Dr. Catherine Ponder became the minister here, her and her board of directors brought down Charles Fillmore's son and had him to come and bless the ministry as well. So Unity of Birmingham has been a divine idea in the mind of God for ages. And it's been a presence in this city probably close to 90 years, almost, give or take. So this work that you're doing is ancestral work. For those of you that are sitting, I know I have a microphone, you might feel like, well, I'm just sitting here. You don't realize you are a part of a greater show. You are holding it down, as we say, not just for you, but you are a representative, a senator, statesman, congresswoman, congressman for your family when it comes to spirituality. So the good that you are experiencing in this room, the conversations that we're having, the energy, you get to take that forward and be that light for your family. So whatever title you need to give yourself, give it to yourself in this moment. To quote PM Don, did you not know that God is you? Of all the titles that you can give yourself, I give you this reminder that you are not just a servant of God, but you are God experiencing humanity. Neville Goddard said that God became man so that man or humanity might become God. C. Allen Alexander, or C. Allen, whoever his last name is, you are exactly where God was when God became you. All of the mystics were saying the same thing, that you are empowered with the good stuff, and that regardless of how we describe it, it just is. And when you recognize that, tune into it, there is nothing that can stop you from being a force for good. There is no problem that you cannot solve. There is no challenge that you don't have the capacity to face. When life tells you to be quiet, there's an inner courage within you that stirs and awakens you to say something, even if you are the only one. It's the same voice that compels you to look around the room and see who's here, and then also see who's not here, and to explore and find out that they have been marginalized. And then you go out and bring them into the fold, even if it disrupts the status quo. There are only 12 seats at the table. We got enough here. We don't need nobody else. But something inside of you says, no, let me go and add some more seats to the table. Or you decide to give up your chair. Know ye not that I have been sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, according to Jesus. So our work here is to empower ourselves and then go out to empower the world, to remind the world that they indeed are safe. And you don't have to do it with spiritual language. You do it with whatever language and gift and training that you have. I see the good doctor back there. Whether your training is veterinarian science, you go to instill love and inclusivity and support and good mental health into the lives of families. You go out in business and entrepreneurship and remind people every time you tell them that I'm a retired business owner that, hey, you can do this too. For every black and brown boy in the city of Alabama that sees Brother George, they are inspired to know what is possible no matter where they come from. Riding down the highway with Brother George or Brother Bruce, I can look at all the buildings in Birmingham and see all the real estate opportunities and possibilities and know what's possible for a 38-year-old kid named Jesse. Life is amazing when you tune into the sound of the genuine within you, and when you recognize that your life has value. The good decisions you made have value, even the bad ones, because they can become testaments of what not to do, right? They become stories. But when we tune into that sound of the genuine and we become one with it and accept ourselves and then open our lives up, say that big yes, become a willing vessel, then we can change the world, y'all. One person at a time. Beginning with ourselves and then those people in our homes. That's the work. It's wash, rinse, and repeat of that. We see it in the New Testament where John the Baptist came preaching and teaching one thing: repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. In other words, change your mind. When the world tells you you can't, there's an inner can inside. That's why the title of today's message is Fire As I Feel It. I'm going to try to slow it down. The title of today's message is The Sound of the Genuine. Say this with me: the sound of the genuine. The sound of the genuine. To quote Howard Thurman, there is something within you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine. It was Howard Thurman's interpretation of intuition. Howard Thurman, the teacher of teachers, the philosopher, theologian, mystic behind notable figures such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and so many other civil rights leaders that we might have forgotten due to history and their names going unnamed. But the teacher of teachers, the contemplative behind them, said that there is something that awaits within you. In other words, the moaning and the groaning and the tossing and the turning and the thing that keeps you up at night. It's your soul and it's awaiting to be awakened. William Blake said, we are led to believe a lie when we look with but not through the eye of that which was born in a night to perish in a night while the soul sleeps in beings of light. When we look at the world with our eyes, all we see is confusion and doubt and worry and misery. But when we look with the eyes of the soul, we see possibility. We see a world already free, coming into being. Our job is to remind it to know itself. That's what Thurman was talking about. That's the sound of the genuine that stirs within you and tells you when things are good, it gives you a check mark. But when things aren't good, it says something is not quite right. And I don't know what it is. It stirs within you, and it's the only guide, according to Howard Thurman, that you'll ever need. It's your greatest teacher. Because when you've asked everybody else what their opinion and it still doesn't seem right, but you're grateful for their advice, it speaks to you, it guides you, it tells you to go this way or go that way. When you listen to it after you've gotten home after a long day, you turn on the news and you see a car accident and you say, but God. It guides you into all truth. It's the thing that guided you your whole entire life. When you did well and when you got into trouble, it guided you out of trouble and says, okay, now you learned your lesson, don't do that again. And then we go and do it again. That was fun. I'll try that twice. As my mom used to say, a hard head makes it soft. We'll talk about that after service. But Howard Thurman says this is the sound of the genuine. And I borrowed this sermon topic, the meat of it, because I was led to, by my own genuine, within my own being, to turn to Howard Thurman, especially in times like these. And in 1980 at Spelman College, Howard Thurman delivered a commencement address where he was trying to speak to young people who were on the precipice of something beautiful. They were about to launch out into their careers all over the country. Some of them will probably stay in Georgia. And he looked into that audience and said, not just to Spelman, but I'm sure he was talking to Spell House as well, because the house is across the street, that there is a sound of the genuine within your soul. And there is something in you that waits and listens for it. And once you have discovered it, you will discover not just the how of you being born, but you will discover the why you were born. It has the answer to all things. It's the voice of God within your soul that empowers you to keep living. And Howard says, when you discover the sound of the genuine within your own heart, then there's something within you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine within other people. Because it tells you whether or not they're present. And you know what that's like when you're talking to someone and their mind is over here, but their body is right there in front of you and you're wondering, hello, is anybody there? It calls you back to the now, because now is the only time there is. It doesn't mean that the past isn't relevant. It just means that that was just a chapter in your story. So my first ask is that everything that have brought you or has brought you to this point, use it as your teacher. Allow it to give you the energy to catapult you forward, good, bad, or indifferent. Every hurt, every disappointment, every letdown, all of the success and the good stuff, let it carry you forward. Let it be fire for the journey. Let it be fire in your belly. So as you were tuning into the sound of the genuine, my question to Howard Thurman this week was, how do we become aware? How do we listen to it? And we listen to it through our practices of prayer and meditation and being around good people, just to keep it plain. When's the last time you were around good people? For all of you that have given up on people, and those that are tuning into the sound of my voice online that have given up on people, My prayer is that you are overflown with friend requests. I hope your Facebook blows up. That you are pulled on in every direction by good people, and you have more dinner invitations than you have days on the week for your calendar. Because for everybody that has disappointed you, there are people that are assigned to you on your journey that you haven't even met yet. There are wonderful experiences that you have already discounted that God says it ain't even time for you to have that yet. You're thinking about your age and your stage right now. There's an experience in next year, in the year after next, that you're going to have that'll make everything that much worthwhile. That's what the sound of the genuine does for you. It shows you the grandness and the big picture of life. It makes it all make sense. And then we find that it's our linear thinking that gives us depression, because we can only see between these two poles. We can only see, what's right in front of us. But when we look at our life and look at the people around us and look at the world through the eyes of God, there's so much freedom. My ask again is that you look at your life through the eyes of the infinite and you see potential, you see possibility, you see hope, you see laughter. And guess what? You don't have to be a passive person for this to happen. You are going to participate in this thing that we talk about Sunday after Sunday. Say this with me, with these hands. Again, Johnny Coleman, when you pray, move your feet. There is a power that is within you, and when you recognize it, again, you are unstoppable. Moses, watch this. Take off your shoes, because where you are standing is holy ground. How do you know the ground is holy? Because you are there. And when you become aware of your holiness, not your self-righteousness, that's another conversation. When you become aware of your holiness and your potential and the love that you have, right, you start to invest it in the proper places. Sometimes our disappointment comes because we gave our love to the wrong people. We gave our love to the wrong people and still expected them to do the right thing. Oh, Jesus, shame on us. It was like, I should have known that was beyond your capacity. But that is a lesson that we learn. Our expectations drive us mad, right? Why are you upset? Because I thought, there you go. It was supposed to be like this. What if it wasn't? What if it was supposed to be just like this? So you could grow and learn your lesson. It doesn't mean you stop living. It doesn't mean you stop loving. You keep living and you keep loving. But you keep your eyes open for that investment opportunity. And you don't invest it in those who are not worthy of it. Enjoy the laugh, have a good time, and move on down the road. Can I get an amen? We stop, pitch a tent, park. I'm gonna put a garden over here. I'm gonna put a nice bed. I'm gonna get some pillows. And God is like, okay. You stay there for a couple of years. You get tired of that. We're going down. But we don't listen. The sound of the genuine awakens us. It awakens us out of our comfort. And I can be real. Sometimes I get angry with God because I get comfortable. I don't want to do no more. I'm done. Oh, yeah? Bloop. Oh, Lord, help me, please. I tell him to get up. I'm going to lay right here. I ain't doing nothing all day. By the way, don't ever say that. Just don't say it. Don't jinx today, because as soon as you say it, guess what? Bloop. Calendar fills, right? You do more sometimes, if you're like me, on your day off than on your day on. So you might as well just go to work consistently. I'm going on a vacation. Why are you getting dressed? That's just a part of the program. Right. But the sound of the genuine, again, it's funny, it's laughter, but it is very true. It guides you in the possibility, it guides you in the freedom, it guides you through your shortcomings and through your short-sightedness, and shows you that there is more to you that meets the eye. That there is more to people than just the lame or bad experiences, if I can be a preacher who talks trash, than the experiences that we have encountered. That there's beauty in the world, there's beauty in people. And again, the folks that are assigned to you, some of you haven't even met yet. And when you meet them, you will know it's a divine appointment, because you feel that connection and that spark. You ever met anybody and that spark, it's like, oh,
There it is. I knew we were supposed to be friends. I knew we were supposed to hang out. I knew I was supposed to come here. I am glad I came here. You know what? I'm glad I met you today. Something pulled us together. Right? That, my friends, is God. Those are divine connections and divine appointments that the sound of the genuine blows your way when we aren't distracted. Edward Danticat, one of my favorite writers in The Farming of the Bones, is a quote from her. She says, sometimes we love our pain more than we love anybody else. Nobody will love you more than you love your pain. That pain becomes a distraction. After a while, you got to just chunk it all and say, you know what, this is just the stuff of life. You allow nothing to distract you. Again, Edward Danticat, sometimes the greatest discouragement to the powers that be is that people like us decide to wake up, for lack of a better word. She says when they try to silence us, they forget that the voice of God is seared in our skulls, and the voice of God is louder than the clamor of the outside world. That is the sound of the genuine that guides you through it all. So you nurture it, you take care of it by taking care of your body, by taking care of your mind, by taking care of your emotions, by taking care of your heart. So all of those things can be of assistance to that freedom that flows from within, to that river that flows from the deepest place of who you are. You don't want to allow your heart to argue or fight against the voice of the soul so that you are attached to things that your soul is telling you to pull away from, or you are involved in opportunities where part of you is in it and part of you is out of it. My ask is that in 2026, we move forward with the voice of divinity and say, forget everything else, because we know that all things work together for our good. And if we seek the sound of the genuine first, all things and people will be added unto us. Real quick, while I have your attention, I want to ground this message in a spiritual story. I want to point your attention to the book of Mark, the 5th chapter. I believe it's like the latter part of that story. Might be in the middle. But the book of Mark itself was written in the 70s, not 1970, first century. And we got the title of Mark because all of the Gospels were anonymous. Mark is an earlier Gospel, was probably written in partnership with a document called Q or Quell, which is a secret gospel, mystery gospel that we don't really have anymore. But when it was written and composed, it was anonymous. And a 2nd century bishop by the name of Papias, who was supposedly friends with Polycarp. Say this with me, Polycarp. Polycarp was supposedly a disciple of John the Elder. We think it might have been the Apostle John, but we're not quite sure. But in any case, Papias said he heard from Polycarp, who heard from John, that the book is actually called Mark. But what Papias described as being the Gospel of Mark, this disoriented set of tales about the life of Jesus, doesn't really match the Gospel of Mark that we have, that was written in proficient Greek by someone who was well-trained and well-educated. So are there 2 Gospels of Mark or just one? Or did Papias get it wrong, or did we misunderstand? Is where theologians are today. So in the Gospel itself, sacred text says that there was a man in an area that we call the Decapolis, which is a set of 10 cities. He was a man who struggled, a brother who struggled with mental health issues. That's why I thought it was synchronistic that you all shared about your work with the Clinton Foundation this morning. That was my confirmation. So the brother had issues and things that he was working on. Sacred text vilifies him, unfortunately, and I apologize on behalf of religion. It says that he was possessed of demons. Sometimes our first century ancestors gave us language that we literalized, and as a result of it, we've used to demonize folks. And mental health is nothing to play with or play about. But this individual struggled from variations of schizophrenia and bipolar and other things that we could probably classify today, but kind of move on with my point. His mental health brought him down so bad, he resorted to self-harming and cutting himself. If you remember the story, the man who was possessed of demons spent time in the graveyard, according to sacred text. Kind of a horrid, morbid story. But the truth of the matter is, he just had a lot on his mind and he had no help. And this is exactly where we are at times as well, because the things that we carry and the burdens that we feel, the mixed emotions, the things that get on our mind, when we can't find no help or no outlet, they become crazy and we start doing abnormal things. So for those of you that have people in your lives that you've already written off and said, they crazy, just know that they may not be as crazy as you think. They might just be in distress and might not be able to find help. So become a safe space for them. Jesus sees the brother from afar off. He comes running to Jesus and says, hey, what are you doing here? Help a brother out. Jesus says, what you got going on? So basically walks him through what a good counselor would walk a person through. Asks him this, and this is the core. What is your name? And this is the point where Howard Thurman hit at in his message at Spelman College, because he says the sound of the genuine rests in us discovering our true identity. When you figure out your name, you find freedom. When you figure out who you are, you find freedom. The burdens and the things that you carry, the things you can't solve, when you remember who you are, remember, put the pieces back together, you awaken. Your soul comes alive. The brother says this, I am legion, for we are many. Now, in the Pentecostal and the fundamentalist tradition, they said, oh, legion just means full of demons. Give you a quick history lesson. Legion was a throwback to the name of the 10th Legion of the Roman army, who heavily fortified that territory called the 10 cities, the Decapolis, where this brother resided. And to make a long story short, scholars today believe that he wasn't just an unnamed individual, but it's probably more than likely he was a defector from the Roman legion, looking for help. The oppression of the military presence, which brought some safety, but the over-policing in the area terrorized some folks. And so he was looking for help and support. He couldn't get it from the government. He couldn't get it from his involvement in the military. So he turned to his soul. Say this with me. Love is always the answer. The fighting, the gloom and the doom, the pressure, the crackdown, the over-policing, ICE, all of those things. Love is always the answer. So he turns to Jesus in his time of need. Jesus sets him free and drives out whatever is in him, allegorically speaking, into pigs, which was a symbol for us as modern day scholars. The boar or the pig was the animal that was pasted or posted on the flag of the Roman legion. Not telling us to eat pork per se, but the writers were trying to tell us that there was something going on in the government, in the military, that was oppressing the people in the town. And love passed through the Decapolis to set them free. Y'all hear me what I'm saying? The answer is always love. My point. The sound of the genuine is always calling us back to love. It did it in history in the first century. It did it in 1980 in Howard Thurman's address to the children or the students of Spelman College. And in 2026, it's the same message to us that love is the answer. And the sound of the genuine will call you and check you on your love walk. My ask is that we listen to it. Let it lead us and guide us into all truth. And we will find that at the end of our days, we would not have lost nothing. Nothing at all. Thank you for listening. Peace and blessings. Our offering, for those that tune in online, remember to log on to unitybham.org and click on giving, or text your best gift to the number that appears on your screen. For those that give in-house, our ushers are making their way forward to collect the offering, while Donna gives us a special selection.
used for the building of this ministry. We bless the givers. We declare their gifts return back to them. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together. And so it is. Let's get it one more time.
We could all stand for let there be peace on earth. Protection. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is.
Wherever I am, God is,
And all is well. Thank you much.